Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to give you my 10 hacks that's going to take your garden from looking tired to looking like a showstopper. The gardening season is fast approaching, so I want to make sure that my garden and your garden are looking as beautiful as they can be. So let's begin. Number one is going to be weeding your garden. That probably has the biggest impact in terms of how tidy your garden is going to look. I like to use tools like these. This is a Hori Hori. This is my tried and true, like my little garden buddy. I take it everywhere, and you can just come into the soil and just lift up those weeds really easily. It's really nice to do this in the springtime while the soil is still kind of moist and wet. That way you're not fighting that ground to get those weeds out. One thing to keep in mind when you're weeding, try to pull the entire weed out, because if you just take the tip, those roots will start growing and continue growing on. So it's best if you can take a hold of the whole thing. Again, it's about eliminating these weeds from our garden, not just cutting them at the base. You're going to find that there's going to be a big difference in your garden, not only aesthetically, but you're not going to have to use any harsh chemicals in your garden when you stay on top of weeding. Especially when you're growing vegetables or fruits, you don't want to spray any of those harsh chemicals. Number two is going to be raking and blowing. This little machine is worth its weight in gold. I take this guy everywhere when I'm working out in the garden. We also have a gas-powered backpack blower and this one right here. This is nice for everyday use. Again, when you're in a hurry and you're just trying to get your garden a little bit tidied up, this is going to save your day. You can blow everything into a corner or to your fence and then rake it up then. That's what I do because nobody's going to be walking by my fence usually, unless you're a weirdo like me that you want to inspect everything. But for the most part, I'm just going to blow everything towards the fence and then I'm going to rake it up. If you're only going to get one blower, I highly recommend you get the battery powered one. This is so easy to use. I love going in here and just cleaning out all of the little nooks and cranny. Again, you can buy multiple batteries, so you always have it charged, and it's so lightweight I can really take it anywhere with me. But again, I like to blow everything towards a corner of our garden or the fence, and then I can come in and rake everything up and it's all in one area. So I'm not wasting my time raking my entire garden. I am just raking up my little piles that I blew into wherever they are. Number three is going to be mow and grow. This is for my fellas out there who love and eat grass. I'm right on your team. Grass typically grow at different rates, so you'll often see when your grass starts getting taller, it's kind of short and tall in some areas. So by cutting it all of the same length, it's going to have a huge impact on how beautiful and how nice it looks. So not only does mowing your grass make your garden look beautiful, but it also contributes to the health of the grass. By mowing your lawn, you're allowing more light to penetrate through, which is going to prevent less moss growth. Next is going to be edging with excellence. That is going to make a difference in the way your garden beds look. By edging those beds, you're going to have a tidier outline and it's just going to look more visually pleasing to the eye. My two favorite ways of doing this is either by using a string trimmer or using a little manual edger. The manual edger is going to be great if you're trying to create a new bed. It allows you to go really deep, and it's also going to help if you're trying to redefine a bed. Whereas the string trimmer is going to be more of a maintenance tool. Next up is going to be planter perfection. I love containers in my garden, but oftentimes we will get these little weeds that will pop in here. So to make your containers look tidier, you want to come in every so often and just trim things back and remove any of the weeds that are popping up. By doing this, you're going to all of a sudden elevate the entire look of your planter from looking sloppy and overgrown, and it's also going to refresh those plants and push them to continue blooming and getting bigger and bigger for you. All right, do you see how quick and easy that was? Now I can come in with a little bit of mulch and just give this a nice little covering. Number six is going to be mulch. This has so many incredible benefits in your garden. Number one, it's going to help with weed suppression. Number two, it's also going to help with water retention. And number three, it's going to make everything in your garden pop. Whenever I bring in mulch into my garden, it instantly looks like I gave it a little facelift. Everything just looks so neat and tidy, and you can see the true colors of our trees and our shrubs and our flowers. It's just the perfect backdrop to all of your plants. I always get questions about what mulch I use. And for the last few years, we've been using compost as our mulch. We found that this has really helped us build the soil in our garden, and it's not so clayey and dense like it used to be. So we tried to pick a compost that has a lot of nutrients. It's also very dark, so it looks very similar to a mulch. This year, we will be switching over to a mulch because we've added quite a bit of compost the last 3 to 4 years. So we're at that point where a good mulch like a hemlock is going to be beautiful in our garden. One other quick little trick I wanted to share is I usually come in with a heavy rake to do a rough spread, and then I come in with this garden brush and I fluff up the soil. This is going to give you the prettiest and neatest look to your mulch. Next is going to be power washing. Now you can see here on our deck, we get quite a bit of mulch and mud throughout the season when it rains and it just splashes back from the rain and the gutter. So coming in here every late springtime and doing a quick power wash is instantly going to brighten up our deck again. Even before we redid our deck, in our old deck, we would always pressure wash it in the springtime and it gave it a complete new look. I highly recommend you invest in a good pressure washer because not only is it good to wash your decks and your patios and your driveways and your sidewalks to get rid of all of that moss and all of that buildup, but it's also beneficial for safety reasons, right? Because once you get that moss buildup, those surfaces become very, very slippery. So it's nice to just have one on hand. That way you can come in every year and just quickly power wash everything at the beginning of the season. Next up is going to be adding accessories to your oasis. You can do that by adding a little bird bath like this. Not only is it going to be sculpturally pretty in your garden and add another element of texture, but it's also going to give a water source to our birds and all of our little pollinator friends in the midst of summertime. You can also add things like this pedestal in your garden. You can place a pumpkin here in the fall time to display it. Again, it's just a way to add vertical interest in little open areas throughout your garden. Adding landscape lights is also the ultimate luxury to the garden, and it doesn't have to be expensive. We like to use these small solar powered ones, and it completely changed the way our garden looks, especially at nighttime. One other accessory I like to use in my garden is going to be obelisks or even an arbor. That again is going to add another element of texture into our garden, and it's going to create more visual interest. Next is going to be pruning. Now this is going to apply to everything in your garden, your annuals, your perennials, your shrubs, your trees. By pruning everything, you're going to keep everything maintained and tidy, and that way you can also get away with planting more things into your garden, which is a little bonus from me to you. You can see I've already pruned back all of our hydrangeas. This is going to not only promote better growth for our plants and I'm going to get bigger blooms, but it keeps them from getting too big and too full and having a ton of crossing branches. So overall, not only is it aesthetically pleasing to the eye, but it actually benefits your plants a ton. And finally, you're going to add pops of annuals into your garden to really bring it to life and add more color. Even adding a little bit of pansies like I have in this container, you're going to see it makes a huge difference in the way our garden looks throughout the whole season. With your annuals, this is where you can get really creative. You can go bright, you can go more muted tones, you can even use cut flowers in your garden as your annuals the way that I like to do. Again, you're adding color and you're getting cut flowers that you can make arrangements with. So it's a win-win. All right, those are going to be my 10 hacks into transforming your garden from looking tired to looking beautiful and fresh all season long. Let me know what your guys' hacks are down below in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today in my garden, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.